Welcome to this rapid revision session on the March on Washington, 1963, or more formally, the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom. In response to the horrible scenes in Birmingham during Project C, civil rights campaigners from SCLC, SNCC, the National Association for the Advancement of Coloured People, and the Congress of Racial Equality joined forces to hold a mass march in Washington, D.C. to show the desire and need for change. Oh, by the way, if you need to know about Project C, I've got a rapid revision video on that before. On August the 28th, 1963, the march took place. It was peaceful and good-humoured, and it was the biggest political march ever in the United States. An image from it can be seen below. 250,000 people took part, or to put it another way, 250,000. 40,000 of the participants were white, which showed broad white support for civil rights change as well. Many civil rights leaders spoke, but King's "I Have a Dream" speech secured his position for many people as the spokesperson of the civil rights movement. It is seen as one of the most famous and one of the best speeches delivered in the 20th century, possibly in history. So let's have a look at a short section from it. You can find fuller extracts elsewhere online, and indeed some videos of it too. We'll call this Source B, from Martin Luther King's speech at the Lincoln Memorial, the 28th of August, 1963. Many of you will have heard some of these words before, I am sure. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal. I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream that one day, even in the state of Mississippi, a state sweltering with the heat of injustice, sweltering with the heat of oppression, will be transformed into an oasis of freedom of justice. I have a dream that my 4 little children will one day live in a nation where they are not judged by the colour of their skin, but by the content of their character. Amazing words, and my delivery hardly does them justice compared to Dr. King's. So why was the March on Washington so important? Well, one clue might be, if you already knew a few words of King's speech, that's how famous it is. So the March on Washington was significant because of its size. It showed huge support for civil rights across the USA. Neither federal nor state governments could argue that it was a minor issue. NAACP, SCLC, SNCC, CORE, they were all involved with the march. Also, Martin Luther King's speech. It gained more civil rights support. And it also meant that many people saw King as the leader of the civil rights movement now, which helped to coordinate its action. But also, who saw it? It was broadcast live on television in the USA and in other countries. It was all over the news. But also the crowd. Black and white people protested peacefully together. It also showed support for civil rights from all sorts of classes of people. Famous people such as Bob Dylan and Joan Baez, both of them folk musicians, attended. Maybe you've heard of them. Some final points then. The March on Washington was inspired by the scenes in Birmingham, Alabama, and the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom was a huge show of public support for civil rights. Its attendance by multiple groups and a racially mixed crowd with celebrity support showed broad support for change. I really do urge you to check out some of the videos of it. The crowds are incredible, and you can get some sort of sense of the scale of things from this picture from just after Martin Luther King's speech done at the Washington Memorial. I should say, actually, the King is speaking at the Lincoln Memorial, and the camera here is facing the Washington Memorial. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech made him an icon of the civil rights movement. And the government was under increased popular pressure and political pressure to ensure that civil rights legislation passed in the wake of this. And so that's your final points on the March on Washington. I hope it's been useful to you. If it has, please like this video and subscribe to the channel for more of the same. I'll be back with more content on civil rights and other topics soon. But for now, thanks very much for watching, and goodbye.